Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his commitment and administration's commitment to transparency and accountability in Nigeria's public finance system. Speaking at the opening of the 2025 National Conference of Public Accounts and Fiscal Governance in Abuja, the president, represented by the Minister of State for Finance, outlined key reforms targeted at strengthening fiscal discipline, digital financial management, and procurement transparency across ministries, departments, and agencies. Correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
It was a gathering of policymakers, lawmakers, and fiscal experts as the 2025 edition of the National Conference on Public Accounts and Fiscal Governance got underway in Abuja. The theme, Charting a New Course for Transparency and Sustainable Development, set the tone for urgent dialogue on Nigeria's fiscal direction.
In 2022 alone, Nigeria spent over 4 trillion on fuel subsidies, more than we allocated to capital expenditure. This was not only fiscally unsustainable, it was unjust. A subsidy that disproportionately benefited the affluent, encouraged smuggling, and breeded inefficiency was neither equitable nor strategic.
President Tinubu emphasized that good governance must be institutionalized, backed by platforms like Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, Government Integrated Finance and Management Information System, and the Open Treasury Portal to ensure that every naira spent is traceable and every officer accountable.
Since its removal, we have redirected those funds into targeted interventions, expanding our social safety nets, improving public transportation, and financing critical infrastructure projects. Most importantly, we have strengthened our fiscal buffers, making Nigeria more resilient to external shocks. Our commitment remains steadfast to ensure that the gains of this difficult yet necessary reform.
Lawmakers also took center stage. Chairman of the House Committee on Public Accounts, Honorable Bamidele Salam, declared that the National Assembly is united in its resolve to finally pass the long-awaited Audit Bill 10 years after it was introduced.
There is no better way to achieve this if we do not make concerted, conscious effort to recalibrate our fiscal management systems and improve our global transparency index. It is our hope that this conference will come up with clear, actionable, and pragmatic measurable plans to achieve this objective in an immediate and short plus long-term measures.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, said the 10th Assembly has taken bold steps to enhance oversight and fight corruption, highlighting the passage of several critical bills, including the Federal Audit Service Amendments Bill.
Recent audit reports revealed that over 300 billion naira of public funds remain unaccounted for. More than 60% of federal ministries, departments, and agencies failed to comply with financial regulations. The reports identify challenges that include unauthorized environments, incomplete audit cycles, institutional leakages, and weak enforcement of rules.
On his part, Chairman of the Senate's Public Accounts Committee, Senator Aliu Wadada, urged all stakeholders to treat fiscal integrity as a national obligation, not a slogan. The conference, which continues for 4 days, is expected to produce a roadmap to reform Nigeria's public financial management systems, anchored on transparency, citizen engagement, and stronger legislative oversight. Aniete Patrick, Global Television News. It was a gathering.
The Senate has reiterated its readiness to a careful independent review of concurrence bill received from the House of Representatives. The Senate leader, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele Ekiti Central, stated this on the floor of the Red Chamber in Abuja. Our Senate correspondent, Topsy Gimba, completes the story.
The Senate leader, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, stressed that while legislative cooperation is guided by the principle of chamber reciprocity, this does not equate to automatic approval without proper examination. He highlighted that just last week, the Senate approved 6 bills from the House of Representatives, but emphasized that reciprocity does not mean garbage in, garbage out. The Senate leader added that each bill will be thoroughly scrutinized to reflect diverse public interests. Senator Bamidele assured both chambers that the Senate remains committed to maintaining legislative integrity by ensuring all concordant bills undergo comprehensive evaluation before passage.
We will continue to consider concurrence bills sent from the House of Representatives the same way they also consider our own, and we will ensure that every bill is given attention in overriding public interest.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, also noted recent progress confirming that 6 House of Representative bills were addressed last week. He added that at least 2 more bills are slated for consideration this week, underscoring the Senate's ongoing commitment to collaborative lawmaking.
We'll continue to do so. So please let our brothers in the House of Representatives know that we cannot joke with anything that comes from there. It takes 2 hands to clap, and we'll continue to work together. So proceed.
This stand reaffirms the Senate's dedication to legislative diligence and partnership, ensuring every bill is assessed on its merit for the benefit of the public. In a related development, the bill for an act to enable the growth of digital economy governance in Nigeria passed second reading in the Senate. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
President Bola Tinubu has called for a fairer global system on climate action, finance and healthcare, urging BRICS nations to lead efforts towards inclusive development and equity for emerging economies. Speaking at the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Tinubu said Nigeria was taking bold steps to expand renewable energy, tackle environmental degradation and achieve universal health coverage while aligning with the global agenda for sustainable development. The president told the world leaders that Nigeria was mainstreaming climate action, promoting nature-based solutions and strengthening urban resilience, and aligning its national agenda with the global renewal framework to ensure inclusive growth and environmental security. The Vice President Kashim Shettima has reiterated Nigeria's commitment to a comprehensive nuclear test ban through collaboration with the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. He made this known while receiving the Executive Secretary of the organization, Dr. Robert Floyd, in a statement by his senior special assistant to the President on Media and Communication, Stanley Mocha, on a courtesy visit to the presidential villa. Shettima emphasized that Nigeria and other African countries currently prioritize addressing existential challenges such as poverty and the effect of climate change, rather than the pursuit of nuclear weapons capability. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, says the National Assembly must move beyond merely passing budgets to tracking how appropriated funds are translated into measurable public outcomes. Speaking through the House Majority Leader, Julius Ohimbere, at the National Conference on Public Accounts and Fiscal Governance in Abuja, Abbas emphasized that sustainable development depends on transparent and accountable fiscal governance. He outlined initiatives taken by the 10th House of Representatives to improve fiscal oversight, including making audit reports publicly accessible, enhancing committee engagement with the Office of the Auditor General, and following up on previous audit findings. The federal government has officially pegged entry admission year into the nation's tertiary institutions at age 16. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa said this while declaring open the ongoing policy meeting of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, in Abuja. He warned that the heads of institutions found to be engaged in admission fraud would face prosecution, noting that official age of 16 set by the government is not negotiable. In another development, the federal government had declared that any admission into tertiary institutions conducted outside the central admissions processing system will be deemed illegal. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa gave the directive in Abuja at the 2025 policy meeting of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. Alausa warned universities, polytechnics and colleges of education across the country against illegal admission. Meanwhile, the Joint Admission and Board Matriculation Board, JAMB, has announced 150 as the cutoff mark for admission into universities in Nigeria. The board made the decision during the 2025 policy meeting on admissions held at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja. JAMB stated that the cutoff mark for colleges for nursing stands at 140, colleges of agriculture 100, while colleges of education remain 100. The leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, that is ASU, has announced that it has directed all its branches nationwide to suspend their services due to the delay in the payment of June 2025 salaries. The union cited the implementation of its non-pay, no-work resolution as the reason for this action. ASU branches at 2 federal universities, the University of Jos and the University of Abuja, have already begun strike in line with the directive. In another development, medical doctors under the National Association of Government General and Dental Practitioners in Ondo State have embarked on a 3-day warning strike, crippling activities in government-owned health facilities across the state. In a joint statement issued in Akure, the state chairman of the association, Dr. Richard Obe, and Secretary Dr. Adekunle Owolabi lamented the severe shortage of medical personnel, alleging that some government hospitals operate with only 1 doctor per local government area. The strike, which is commenced on Monday, is in protest against what the doctors describe as the gross neglect of the health sector and welfare of medical practitioners by the admission of government Lucky Aiyedatiwa. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has issued a flood alert for the month of July, warning that states including Sokoto, Lagos, Edo, Benue, and 16 others are at risk of experiencing flash floods. The agency flash flood risk alert for July 2025 showed the states with varying probable risk of experiencing flash flooding events due to the onset of rainfall across the country. It noted that despite receiving over 620 billion naira in ecological funds, many states seem ill-prepared to mitigate the impact of such disaster, raising questions about the effectiveness of this fund in enhancing environmental resilience and disaster preparedness. The legal counsel representing the Senate in the suit over the suspension of Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan from the Senate has publicly challenged claims made by the embattled federal lawmaker suggesting that a federal high court order has directed her recall from suspension from legislative functions. In a statement issued in Abuja by the law firm of Paul Daudu and Co., the Senate legal team addressed a viral video on social media in which Senator Akpoti Oduakan announced plans to resume legislative duties on Tuesday based on a July 4th ruling by Honorable Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Paul Daudu, who presents during the court proceedings, said the judge merely offered an obiter dicta allegro opinion not forming part of the binding judgment, stating that the suspension may be excessive given its part on the Kogi Central constituents' right to representation. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. When News Cycle returns, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited donates 35 CNG buses to Presidential Initiative on CNG. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Stay with us. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, that is NNPCL, has handed over 35 hybrid compressed natural gas CNG-powered buses to the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas by CNG. During a brief ceremony held at the company towers in Abuja, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the oil firm, Bashir Bayo Ajulari, reiterated the company's commitment to support federal government's gas aspirations. Sadiat Yakubu has the details.
The Group Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Ojulari, stated the move is in line with the NNPC Limited's effort to drive the adoption of compressed natural gas as a cleaner, cheaper and sustainable fuel alternative. He added that the company has recorded significant progress on gas supply, infrastructure, distribution and retail outlets.
In the wake of the PMS subsidy removal and in alignment with the federal government's push to promote CNG as a viable, cost-efficient alternative, NNPC previously donated 10 CNG buses through the NNPC Foundation.
Earlier in his address, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekperipe Ekpo, said the CNG buses represent not just vehicles, but serve as instruments of economic relief, social equity, and environmental responsibility. The minister described the initiative as a direct reflection of President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, a bold step to reduce the cost of transportation, lessen dependency on petrol, and ensure utilization of the nation's abundant natural gas resources for the benefit of the people.
The CNG story continues to unfold. The reality is that it's not just 2 years ago that the CNG story started in Nigeria. Some of us can remember that in 2008, there was actually a major initiative for CNG commercialization in Nigeria.
The Executive Vice President, Downstream NNPC Limited, Muminu Dagazao, said the adoption of CNG as a fuel alternative has significant economic benefits for the nation by reducing reliance on petroleum motor spirits and automotive gas oil as automotive fuels, which also leads to substantial cost savings and support for growth of local gas industry.
It boasts it to reduce the cost of transportation, lessen our dependence on petrol, and ensure abundant natural resources are used to benefit our people.
The program coordinator, CEO Presidential CNG Initiative, Mr. Michael Oluwagbemi, commended the NNPC Limited for supporting the initiative, stressing that the company has been a reliable partner for the initiative since its commencement. Sadia Yakubu, Yahya, Global Television.
Now on the foreign scene, President Donald Trump says the United States will send additional weapons to Ukraine, triggering Russian criticism after Moscow claimed new gains in its grinding war against its neighbor. The Kremlin warned Tuesday that sending arms to Ukraine only serves to prolong the conflict a day after Trump's pledge for more weapons for Ukraine to defend itself. Trump's announcement to send weapons to Ukraine Monday followed Washington saying last week that it was halting some weapons shipments to Kyiv, leaving Ukrainian officials caught off guard and scrambling for clarity. United States President Donald Trump has held talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, with both leaders touting their controversial proposal to push besieged Palestinians into neighboring countries. Their meeting comes as Israel negotiation and Hamas held indirect talks in Qatar for a ceasefire in Gaza. The Houthis in Yemen have damaged a second ship in as many days in the Red Sea, targeting a vessel with rocket-propelled grenades. The Health Ministry official in Cairo says a fire engulfed the main telecom company building in downtown Cairo, injuring at least 14 people and prompting a temporary outage of internet and mobile phone services. The Health Ministry said in a statement, the injured were taken to nearby hospitals while 2 emergency responders suffer burns on their hands. And now to the world of sport. Kanyinsola Ajayi's sensational form continued as he powered to a personal best a goal in 9.2 seconds to win the men's 100-meter at the Meeting International Sotteville-les-Rovers in France. The 20-year-old surged from lane 5 at the State Jean Adret with a reaction time of 0.156 seconds to edge out a strong field that include 5 sub-10-second runners, winning by daylight and rewriting the meeting record previously held by Trinidad and Tobago's Christian Blendman since 2015. Blendman's mark of 10.02 seconds stood for 9 years until Ajayi lowered it with his smooth run aided by a legal plus 1.7 meters per second tailwind as Cameroonian veteran Emmanuel Esseme placed second in 10.04 seconds while Senegal's Mamadou Sarr followed in. And that's it on Global TV News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NJ. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thank you for watching.